Hi, ladies. Welcome to the Womb Wellness Summit. I'm honored today to introduce you to our charity that we're going to be donating to. Stasha introduced them to me, and when we were talking about putting on this summit together, we really wanted to make a bigger impact, and we're very honored to introduce you today, the CEO and founder, and she's going to share more about what they've been doing over the past 10 years to really help women around the world. So I'm going to introduce you to Stasha, since she's the one that introduced me to her, to introduce to you, Celeste.
I love it. It's the chain of events there.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Stasha, the period coach here. And last year's summit, I was looking for a good charity to donate, and I came across Days for Girls, which literally gives days of education to girls by helping them with period management, resources, cloth pads, these kinds of things. I'm going to let Celeste tell you all about it. But I thought, what better thing for what I'm doing out there in the world, just helping educate women about their periods, than work with a nonprofit that literally helps women get educations and deal with their periods all at the same time. So I was very excited to have this conversation with Celeste today and introduce Days for Girls to you guys, and the Happy Stance, which at the end of this interview, we're going to tell you about the International Day of Women. You have to stay here to the end for it, so you want to be here. Thank you so much for joining us, Celeste. It's an honor to have you here.
Oh, such a privilege. I'm looking forward to being together today.
We want to hear all about your company, how it got started, everything. So I feel like we should just start at the beginning. Mm-hmm. How did you even come up with the idea of Days for Girls and get it up and running?
I kind of feel like I can't claim any credit for that because I never thought to ask this question. I was working in global development. I was working on sustainable solutions. I'm kind of a science girl, and I was trying to find ways for communities to thrive more, and never asked this. And then in the post-election violence of 2007 and 8 in Kenya, there was a huge 500,000 people displaced. An orphanage that I would just help whenever I was in Kenya twice a year exploded in growth to over 1,400 kids. And then their request for food, they hadn't had food in 2 days at one point, and I just pleaded for a solution to how to help them with that. And then woke up in the middle of the night, of all things, with it going through my head, have you asked what the girls are doing for feminine hygiene? I literally went, I ran to the computer and I emailed, and you don't expect an email right away. Back then, smartphones weren't everywhere. And I got an immediate response. And all he answered was nothing. They wait in their rooms. Oh. Now, you have to know, first of all, any of us, how do you wait in your room? But for them, I instantly saw their rooms, which had bunk beds end to end and side to side, so that 50 children with 2 to 3 on a bunk would sleep in one small room. So how do you do this? And it turned out they would sit on a piece of cardboard for days. And you would think that was the moment Days for Girls was born, but no. My first thought was disposables, because I was accustomed to disposables. And I did know that if I sent money for disposables in the future and they needed food, they would use it for food. And that's the right thing. And any of us, I hope, would. So we needed a better solution that they could count on. I did find a nonprofit with reduced disposable costs, but what I didn't anticipate, embarrassingly, is when we got there, there's no truck that goes by. There's no place to dispose of things. Oh. So the pit latrines were filled. The chain link along the pit latrines were filled with disposed pads and up against the posts, and even a pile at the end that a girl reached into, and they explained that they would wash to reuse someone else's used pad. So stigma, health, and so many other considerations, sanitation. I didn't think of that. But when I got there, so I got to the first training, I asked them beforehand, who's teaching them what a period is? And they said, you can, ma'am. I was like, I wasn't a world expert in menstruation and sex then yet. And I want you to know, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a scientist or a singer or a writer, but it was never on my list to be a world expert in sex and menstruation. And it turns out I'm so grateful I am. In any case, we got there. And the girls explained, and we did the training, and we had a wonderful conversation. And then afterwards, they came up with big smiles and said, "Thank you. Before you came, we had to let them use us if we wanted to leave the room and go to class." And that, I hoped, didn't mean what I thought it meant. And they confirmed after 250 girls came through and another 250 that they were in fact being sexually exploited in exchange for a single disposable pad. And that's when Days for Girls was born. And I still didn't know how widespread this is, how important it is for women all over the planet. But I knew we had to do something starting then.
Well, thank you for being there, for seeing it, and for sticking with it to see it to that conclusion. Because it'd be so easy to say, well, I did something, it didn't work, and walk out.
Yeah. I don't think any of us, if they saw their faces, would turn around and stay out of it.
I'd hope not.
I know you two would. That's a given. I am profoundly grateful because, you look for something that can make a key difference for reversing cycles of poverty and violence against women. These are hugely in equity, dare we wish. And this is one of those keys. It truly is. It's one of the keys that have held women back because of stigma and lost opportunity and shame and loss of confidence. And this is something we can change, and we are, and it's working. And what you do, breaking stigma, is a key to that too. This is so exciting.
Team effort.
Yes,
it's going to take all of us.
It is going to take all of us, but we got this.
Yeah, totally. So tell us, what is Days for Girls doing now?
Okay, ready? We have 124 nations on 6 continents, including in the U.S. What does a woman that's homeless or a girl that's a foster girl at a new home and she's going to go to this new person that's her dad and say, "Hi, I need a pad," or a woman that's searching for a job and needs to save her money for fuel for her car to go to interviews. Anytime, anywhere that you're choosing between basics and hygiene, this falls off the list, and it is so basic to our basic biology and function. And so all over the world, surprisingly, never would have guessed. And we have reached more than 1 million women and girls. More than 1 million. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yes. And today we have more than 50,000 volunteers that are part of our Days for Girls family, helping make sure girls have what they need. We have supporters like you all over the world. Thankfully, that's how we've reached 1 million and growing. And this is the incredible part as well. Today we teach women in the field, in their own communities, to be ambassadors of women's health, to hold the knowledge so it stays there, and also to make Days for Girls kits and to sell them as an enterprise. So not a lot of profit, but enough that she can do it's working. We have hundreds of them all over the world.
Wow. So not only are you guys on the ground working with the women that need the immediate help, but you're also setting up education centers. And on top of that, helping women get businesses started where there's the possibility for that. So it's like a 3-pronged, multi-level approach.
Absolutely. And it kind of takes that, right? Because to me, we could ship in a bunch of pads made somewhere else. And that's so valuable. And honestly, however, if it doesn't come with the education, then we've lost a priceless opportunity. Because for us, our communities, we would rather talk about diarrhea than menstruation, let's be honest. And why is that? But for them, it's like, honestly, I was in Guyana, South America, and they didn't even know yet why we were there except for the person that invited us. And they were having a discussion about whose fault the banana blight that has struck their community, that is, by the way, all over Latin America, right? And we're just blaming it on a woman that they felt had been menstruating while near the trees and near the river. And they had just decided that. So there are communities where it's who caused the drought, you're untouchable. It can be way more serious than we can even imagine. And so that education is a game changer for them on a level that is so tremendous. We don't want to lose the opportunity to talk about women's health, important education.
Oh, I can't even imagine. I mean, just to feel like anything or everything could be blamed on you for absolutely no reason is just what a level of stress to live with.
Yeah.
Imagine, let alone just sitting somewhere not having it, right? I agree. It's in parts of Western Nepal, there it is you're completely untouchable, as in they sit in sheds or caves or outcroppings or elevated stick platforms because wild animals can be attracted to odorous matter, biological matter breaking down can become odorous. And so they're risking being bit by snakes. Exposure, this is Nepal, so they can die of asphyxiation from trying to stay warm or just die from the cold. And the deal is that they're not even considered that you can, like, let me describe. They show me these metal plates that the family will put breadcrumbs in, and when they're menstruating in this shed, they will push this plate to them. It almost looks like a quiche plate. Push this pan to them, and then the woman is expected to reach out and pull it to herself because they can't risk touching it at the same time. So that level of untouchable right now. And Days for Girls is responding to that need as well. It's so great to be part of this shift.
I hear a few times a year of when a woman dies in that area, especially because it happens fairly regularly. So it's a blow. It's, you hear it and you're just like, this is unbelievably preventable, and it's just outrageous and heartbreaking. It's all of the emotions all at the same time. It's overwhelming.
So about dignity, right?
Yeah, for sure. I would love to hear a little bit, like, have you kept in touch with the women throughout the years that you met and kind of helped on this journey?
Some of them, not all of them, of course. Some of them that I've met up with, and sometimes we go back. There's one story that, her name is Gotsu. She's 12-year-old in Zimbabwe. This girl had been key to, it's a long story, so I won't, but imagine returning to a community to keep the promise we'd be back to teach more how to make their own, and finding that the fabric we left as token that we would return had been used and was gone. And they're like, where did it go? What did it get used for? And they said, making these kits. And you're like, who was able to do that after seeing it one time? And it was 12-year-old Gotsu. And when she was asked, how do you feel about that? One of her answers was, I am no longer an orphan. I am a leader of women. We got to circle back to her when she was 14. I know, right?
I know, I'm like crying.
I know. We got to circle back to her when she was 4 years older, so 16 now. She was, one, still using the same kit, and two, she was just starting to leave school because her grandmother had wanted her to get married now. So it had gotten her through years, and she was still grateful to teach others to know about their health. And what a phenomenal thing it is to give the people that you serve and serve with the power to pass it on. And so we circle back and hear that's actually, did you know our kits have been through 28 versions to get to the patented, awesome, globally effective design it is, because we keep checking back. It's their wisdom that matters.
Yeah. And I love that point, because we've got to actually help in the right way, and give them what they can really use, and even what can be broken down and things like that. I think it's such an important point whenever we're donating, that we're actually doing something that is part of their culture and actually supporting them.
Absolutely. So true.
When you're talking about these kits, what are they exactly?
Oh, good question. You want to see one? I'll grab
one.
Yes.
I love props.
I have one right here.
Oh, perfect.
So they come, and you can see them behind me, girls receiving them.
Oh, nice.
Actually, they're tossing them, which is lovely. Don't worry, they got them back. This is a Days for Girls Supreme kit. So this is what everything a girl would need to use it, and then some for. And by the way, we usually say they last 2 to 3 years. Lots report 4 years, but we just had our first report of 5 years. So this is their backpack, if you will, so they can carry it back and forth to school or work, and often carry it every day. Inside is, ta-da! This is the world's best pre-washing machine, a Ziploc baggie that's really sturdy. And this, ready? Wait for it. Oh, this isn't a super colorful one. They're all unique. And this, you can fold it like this. Watch out. Watch. This is how you make a pad last year's. Ta-da! It's washable. And this is how you make a pad not look like a pad, because it was important that it not look like a pad or they wouldn't be able to hang it out, right? So here it is. Ready? Ta-da!
Oh, cute.
Right? So it looks like a washcloth, but this just means large surface area so it dries quickly and easy to wash with very little water. And then this has a moisture barrier on the inside, so it won't leak through. This snaps around their underclothing, so it's really simple. And they can put in one, or I should show you, it has a hot spot with 2 layers, only 1 year. That means when they fold it up, there's 6 layers of absorbency where they need it, but only 3 here. So she can layer 1 or 2 or 3 even, and adjust it to her flow. And this kit comes with 8 of the line. This liner goes into the shield, 2 of these shields, 8 of these liners, 2 pair of underwear, a washcloth, 2 Ziploc bags, and wait for it. This may look simple and unimportant, but it's huge. This is the care and usage, so that you know, in case she's forgotten, it's been a little while. This is 1 year of menstrual charting so that she can figure out what her cycle is. All of that.
We love that.
Right?
We love that.
One soft, squishy, life-changing opportunity, but it's not just that. What? This is really a doorway to a girl getting all the conversation she needs about what a period is, how babies happen. Self-defense, is rape sex or is it violence? Really important conversation all over this planet. And hand washing and how to track your cycle and human trafficking in an hour and a half. And she leaves with this and all that knowledge that's forever.
Oh my God, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. I want to go next time and help.
On the ground.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. Just seeing and sharing that wisdom that we have and passing it along, that's part of being a woman, right? That's part of.
Absolutely.
So amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when we do donations, so people who are listening to the summit right now, you guys listening right now, when you purchase the summit or make a direct donation to Days for Girls, our money is basically going to the materials of creating these kits.
Yes. And helping the enterprise women reach the communities they're going to, right? Because sometimes they're very remote. So it's helping do that. It's helping make sure they have supply chain that they need to keep going. It's just passing it on and building it bigger and making us get there sooner, because dignity can't wait.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Thank you.
I love it. Yeah. You mentioned volunteers. So if somebody doesn't have money to donate, they can volunteer?
Absolutely. There are so many ways to volunteer. So you can sew, and there are chapters and teams all over the world that you can be part of. You can also volunteer if you're a social media expert, or if you're good at promotion and marketing or PR or design. Really, there isn't a talent you can't have that won't help Days for Girls. Because it's such a global effort. And to us, it's going to take all of us to reach all of them. There are lots of ways to help.
That's fantastic. So if somebody wanted to volunteer, they could just go to daysforgirls.org and find the volunteer information.
Absolutely. So you can click on Get Involved, and there are all sorts of ways to get involved. You can even take a free course about being an ambassador of women's health and knowing more about what we teach for education and how we do what we do and why we do it, and cultural relevancy even.
I love that. And we have the links. So if you're watching this, the link should be around my head somewhere. Just click. But I really appreciate the fact that you spoke about the concept of sexual violence, rape, human trafficking, because that's such an important discussion that we're having right now. And it is very much sex and menstruation are the same thing, but sex and rape and violence against women and sexual trafficking and human trafficking, all these things sort of lump in together because there's a lot of, unfortunately, confusion as to where the lines are and what the things are there. So the fact that you're taking on that as well is really like a huge step in the direction that we need to go for women just in general and around the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's such a natural, like you said, a natural place to connect and demystify and frankly just have a conversation. It's about the conversation, not telling them, but saying, what if? Is sex violence? And what if next time you stood next to someone who had been attacked? And what if the attacker was the person held accountable? What if you did that? That's a huge potential change maker. And we get to do that. We get to have that conversation.
That's amazing. That's protecting women on so many levels, not just from leaks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love it.
That's fantastic. So we have to talk about the hashtag Never Alone period.
Yes.
Tell us all about this.
Yes.
This is so exciting. Okay, so it is our 10th birthday coming up, November 1st. I can't believe it's been 10 years. It's flown by, but it's our 10th birthday. And we are celebrating it by showing the world that we can do this. We can reach every girl everywhere, period. Not just Days for Girls, but all of us. And so we're doing it for 28 days, celebration of a Global Girls Festival, Never Alone period. And that will start on October 4th. And go all the way to our birthday, November 1st. Thankfully, this includes International Day of the Girl. That's October 11th. You don't have to remember all this. It's probably going to be on your website, our website.
Yeah.
And on that day, right?
Yeah, we here.
We will have a broadcast on really 24 hours of videos coming up on our YouTube and showing the girls' story, like Gotsu and others, their story and how it's changed their life and what it's like to go without and what it's like to become a leader and how it is transforming communities. So we get to see their videos and watch them talk and importantly, ready? Between October 4th and November 1st, we will, in those 28 short days, reach over 100,000 women and girls in 28 days.
That's incredible. And
I love it.
Pure kismet that it's when we're having the summit. Like we didn't know that until we talked before we hit record earlier that we were going to be doing this at the same time. So that's even more beautiful that we're going to be able to support you and your organization.
Love it.
At that time. Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful? I'm so excited about this because to me, we can show, and of course it's 28 days because of the average cycle. To me, if it's like ringing the bell and saying, this is something we can change. There are so many things in the world that are hard to change, but this isn't one of them. And we can just call it. And this is us saying we're getting there. More and more people are talking about this. But if we can reach 100,000 women and girls in 1 month, in 28 days, then we can reach them all. And let's all join in, thought leaders and individuals. We can do this. So I am so excited about this amazing opportunity to let women know everywhere, you are never alone.
Yeah. Us too.
Oh yeah. We're going to just be hashtagging it up.
All over the place. Yeah.
Yay. Thank you.
Look for the hashtag, ladies, as you're listening to this. Even if this is years down the line and you've somehow stumbled upon this video, I want you to go look up that hashtag and see all the awesomeness from what's happening and report back and let us know what's going on. Okay, fantastic. That's amazing. Is there anything else that we need to know?
I think we covered it, except for we're with you. We're one in reaching them all. We got this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you for your support.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing everything that you're doing. I mean, I wasn't aware of all of the education part of it. So I think that's such an important piece. And I'm so grateful that you are spreading your knowledge with all of the girls around the world too. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thank you. My delight to be with you today. Say hello to everyone at the summit.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Celeste, for joining us. And don't forget, if you want to buy the summit, you can do so. And half of our profit is going to Days for Girls. So I will be sending out an email with my receipt after I make the donation to everybody who has been part of the summit. And I hope that I will see you on the list of people who are helping us make an amazing donation. I'd like to beat last year's total. Last year we did a $364 donation. So I'd like to see everybody joining me and kicking our last year's limit and just blowing it out of the water.
I think we can totally do that.
More than that.
Yeah.
So not only do you get the summit and all of the amazing knowledge that the summit is going to give, but you also are giving a really good charity some much needed extra funding. So feel really good about being with us on the summit and purchasing. All right. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so
much, everybody.
We'll see you at the summit.
Bye.